Power doesn't roar, it whispers. It hides behind calm faces, polite words, and quiet observation. The truly powerful don't chase control, they design it. They move unseen, like a shadow that bends the light around it. Every day you cross paths with people who appear harmless, yet they're pulling strings you can't even see. They guide your reactions, your loyalty, your attention. And while you believe you're making choices, they are simply offering you the illusion of freedom. Here lies the first law of true dominance: never reveal your intent. Once your direction becomes visible, others will place traps along your path. Caesar's openness made him predictable, and predictability kills power. Napoleon, on the other hand, mastered deception. He misled his enemies, masked his motives, and struck only when every defense was down. Mystery disorients the mind. When people can't define you, they can't attack you. Uncertainty becomes your armor, confusion becomes your weapon. Power grows in the dark, and light, the need to explain, to justify, only weakens it. But concealment alone is survival, not supremacy. The second law demands cruelty masked as wisdom. Never leave an enemy standing. Mercy is romantic, but power is not built on romance. It's built on completion, on closing every threat before it breathes again. History remembers those who finished what others were too kind to end. And when the battlefield is silent, plant something deeper: dependence. Control doesn't come from dominance, it comes from necessity. Make others need you, and their freedom will dissolve willingly. Power is not in the noise of ambition. It's in the silence of precision. The wise do not fight for control, they construct it. If you want to command respect, become scarce. Abundance breeds contempt, but rarity commands desire.
And remember, power whispers, never roars, never.
The world doesn't value what it can easily reach, it worships what it can't. The powerful understand this. They make themselves limited, not by weakness but by choice. They appear only when presence has meaning. Every word they speak is calculated, every silence intentional. By doing less they achieve more. By being rare they become valuable. Think of a diamond, it's just carbon, yet its rarity makes it priceless. Humans function the same way. The more accessible you are, the less you are respected. Flood people with your presence and they'll drown in indifference. Withdraw and they'll crave your return. Scarcity amplifies perception. The powerful use absence as a mirror, forcing others to see how much they depend on their presence. It's not manipulation, it's mastery. People are drawn to mystery because it gives them meaning. When you step back, they chase. When you stand still, they lean in. Consider how leaders, artists, and thinkers maintain influence long after silence. Their distance creates intrigue, their restraint builds myth. The greatest kings were not those who spoke the most, but those whose silence weighed more than words. Power demands restraint. You must resist the hunger for validation. Those who constantly explain, prove, or seek approval trade influence for attention. The weak crave to be seen, the strong choose to remain unseen until it serves them. Scarcity isn't absence, it's design.
Never forget, hidden behind calm faces.
It means controlling your image, your access, and your reactions. Reveal nothing you don't have to. Respond only when silence can no longer serve you. Because in the end, what people cannot easily touch, they learn to respect. And what they cannot fully understand, they learn to fear. Power is never just about truth, it's about perception. You don't have to be great. You only have to be believed to be great. In a world where image outweighs essence, reputation becomes the most lethal weapon. The wise understand this. People don't see reality, they see stories. And whoever controls the story controls the world. Reputation is your invisible army. It fights battles before you arrive. It protects you when you're not there to defend yourself. Once your name carries weight, your silence becomes more powerful than someone else's argument. But if that name cracks, if doubt seeps in, your empire collapses faster than any attack could destroy it. This is why kings, CEOs, and conquerors obsess not over their truth, but over their image. Caesar needed to appear merciful. Napoleon needed to appear invincible. And Machiavelli taught that a ruler must always seem virtuous, even if he isn't. Because appearance bends obedience faster than honesty ever could. Your image must be sculpted like armor. Everything you show the world should be intentional, polished, precise, untouchable. Every flaw must be hidden beneath the illusion of control. Weak men show emotion. Powerful men turn emotion into theater. Their anger looks like dominance. Their calm looks like wisdom. They never expose the chaos beneath the surface. But here lies the paradox. Reputation cannot be chased. Those who beg to be respected never are. You don't demand reputation, you engineer it. You create patterns that others interpret as greatness. Repeat consistency, demonstrate control, and let whispers do the rest. People are desperate to believe in power. Give them something to believe in.
Always recall, mystery is armor.
The moment you master perception, the truth becomes irrelevant. Your reputation will do the work for you, silencing critics, attracting loyalty, and spreading fear where needed. However, you must guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Reputation is fragile. It can take years to build and seconds to shatter. One careless word, one public weakness, one emotional slip, and your image burns to ash. That's why the wise never react publicly. They move through crisis with grace, not panic. When enemies attack, they don't defend, they redirect. They let rumors burn themselves out while maintaining poise. The powerful know that overreaction reveals insecurity, and insecurity invites blood. Learn from predators. Lions don't chase flies. Your attention signals value. The moment you acknowledge your critics, you make them important. Silence is not weakness, it's superiority. The powerful don't need to explain. Their existence is explanation enough. But reputation isn't built on arrogance alone. It requires strategic illusion. You must be everything people expect and nothing they can predict. Give them glimpses of strength, hints of mystery, and doses of unpredictability. Keep them guessing, never let them fully define you. Once they can, you've lost your advantage. Because the truth is simple: control perception and you control reality. The masses don't question what feels real, they defend it. If your image feels powerful, they will protect it even against truth itself. The greats knew this. From emperors to modern icons, the most feared figures weren't the strongest, they were the most believed in. Your goal isn't to convince everyone. It's to make doubt impossible. Once your name becomes a symbol, your shadow will walk ahead of you, commanding rooms before you enter, ending arguments before they begin. Reputation isn't what others think of you. It's what they expect from you, and expectations shape reality more than truth ever will. The greatest power is not over bodies, it's over emotions. You can command through fear, but if you command through feeling, your control becomes permanent. Fear fades when danger passes. Emotion lingers even after truth dies.
Take note. Confusion is a weapon.
The truly powerful don't suppress emotion, they weaponize it. They study it, master it, and use it as a mirror to control others. They know that logic rarely moves people. Emotion does. You don't persuade through facts, you guide through feelings. The first rule of emotional dominance: appear vulnerable when it serves you. Genuine strength hides behind selective weakness. When you reveal just enough humanity, people lower their guard. They trust you, defend you, even suffer for you, all while you remain in control. Kings, saints, and tyrants all played this game. Julius Caesar wept for the soldiers he sent to die, and they adored him for it. Napoleon spoke to his men not as soldiers but as brothers in arms, and they followed him through hell. These displays weren't spontaneous, they were engineered. Because emotion, once awakened, becomes obedience in disguise. But here lies the trap: never drown in the feelings you display. The powerful act emotions, they don't live them. The moment you start believing your own performance, you lose control. Emotion must serve your purpose, not consume it. The second rule: mirror the hearts you wish to own. People trust those who reflect their pain. Become the echo of their emotions and they'll mistake your control for connection. The strongest manipulators don't argue, they empathize. They make you feel understood, then guide you quietly where they want you to go. That's how politicians win nations. Cult leaders build devotion and lovers gain dominance. Not by force, but by emotional illusion. They become the storm and the shelter at once. To master emotion is to master narrative. Anger can inspire loyalty. Fear can enforce obedience. Love can turn resistance into worship. The powerful know how to ignite the right feeling at the right moment, and then disappear before the truth is seen. The weak are ruled by emotion. The powerful rule through it. And when people can no longer tell whether your empathy is real or designed, that's when control becomes absolute. The world believes control means domination, but that's a lie. True power doesn't come from grabbing tighter. It comes from letting go. The weak react.
And remember, never reveal your intent.
The powerful observe. Every outburst, every argument, every desperate attempt to prove something, all of it bleeds control. Because the moment you react, you've surrendered your center. Power lives in stillness. Influence flows to the one who remains unmoved. Detachment is not indifference, it's strategy. It's the art of standing above the chaos while others drown in it. The powerful don't rush to prove they're right, they let time prove it for them. They understand that silence can humiliate louder than any threat, that the calmest person in the room owns the room. When someone tries to provoke you, they're not testing your strength, they're searching for your limit. Every emotional reaction gives them a map of your weakness. But when you respond with composure, they see nothing. No fear, no hunger, no ego. You become unreadable. And what cannot be read cannot be controlled. The truly powerful never fight directly. They let others destroy themselves trying to expose them. They turn enemies into actors in a play they already scripted. The opponent shouts, the crowd watches, and the powerful man stands still, composed, unshaken, until perception turns the aggressor into a fool. Sun Tzu wrote, "To subdue the enemy without fighting is the acme of skill." He wasn't speaking of war, he was describing life. The silent ruler wins because he understands energy. Every reaction wastes it, every silence collects it. This is the illusion of control, the ability to command without showing effort. A lion doesn't roar to prove it's the king of the jungle. Its presence does the work. You must learn to create that same aura, an energy that says, "I am beyond your reach." In relationships, in business, in conflict, control the tempo. Never move on someone else's rhythm. When others rush, slow down. When they demand answers, pause. The one who controls time controls outcome. And remember this, emotional distance terrifies the insecure.
Never forget, predictability kills power.
When you stop giving energy, they lose meaning. The powerful use this precisely, withdrawing attention not out of spite, but to remind others where value truly lives. Because attention is currency, and whoever you give it to becomes richer in power. Never invest it cheaply. Detachment doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means your feelings obey you. It's knowing when to show warmth and when to turn cold, when to step forward and when to vanish. It's emotional discipline disguised as mystery. People chase drama because it gives them life. The powerful provide silence, and in that silence, others expose themselves. They reveal their intentions, their insecurities, their dependence. Detachment is not retreat, it's dominance through invisibility. The man who can walk away from anything controls everything. The ultimate power is not in control of others, it's in control of self. And once your emotions belong to you, no one else can own them. Power isn't always in movement. Sometimes it's in stillness so controlled it looks eternal. The weak chase outcomes, the powerful wait for them. In every arena, war, business, or love, time is the greatest weapon. But few have the discipline to use it. Impatience exposes fear. It reveals that you crave the win more than you control it. The moment you rush, you've shown the world what you value, and once they know that, they can use it against you. The powerful understand this game too well. They play slow because they think long. While others sprint toward victory, they study the terrain, the players, the timing. They know that the outcome doesn't belong to the first mover, it belongs to the last survivor. Strategic patience isn't weakness, it's silent warfare. You're not waiting because you're unsure, you're waiting because you already see 10 moves ahead. You let rivals burn their energy, destroy their credibility, reveal their patterns. And when their noise fades, you strike once, cleanly, perfectly, without resistance. Machiavelli called this the fox's wisdom. A predator that knows when to sleep, when to stalk, and when to kill. It doesn't attack from hunger, it attacks from certainty.
Mark this. Mercy is weakness.
The powerful create the illusion of inactivity. They vanish from attention, giving others the comfort of believing they've won. But behind that silence, strategies evolve. Connections form. Plans sharpen. And when they finally move, it feels like destiny itself rising from the shadows. Because timing is control. Even a weak plan executed at the perfect moment can overpower genius executed too soon. The greatest rulers, generals, and thinkers didn't just outsmart their enemies, they outlasted them. Napoleon used delay like a weapon. He'd feign weakness, drawing opponents into overconfidence. Then, when they thought victory was near, he'd strike with devastating precision. His victories were not just physical, they were psychological. His enemies always lost twice, first to his patience, then to his attack. In modern life, the same law reigns. The impatient reveal too much, too early, their plans, their emotions, their intentions. They chase opportunity they never created. But the patient, the disciplined, craft time itself into an ally. Waiting with purpose is not passive, it's preparation disguised as silence. While others fight for attention, you build structure. While they react, you observe. When they burn out, you emerge untouched. The world belongs to those who move when the moment is ripe, not before. The most dangerous man in any room is not the loudest or the strongest. It's the one who seems to have nowhere to go and nothing to prove. Because that man cannot be baited, rushed, or broken. He dictates pace without saying a word. Patience is the shield of power, and timing is its sword. Those who master both don't compete, they orchestrate. And when the world finally sees your move, they'll call it brilliance. But you'll know it was only patience, sharpened into destiny. No empire is built alone. Even the strongest ruler, the sharpest mind, the coldest strategist, all rely on others to extend their reach. But power doesn't come from surrounding yourself with people, it comes from controlling the people you surround yourself with.
Always recall, dependence is control.
The weak crave friendship. The powerful design alliances. They understand that every human bond is an exchange of value, trust, and dependency. And whoever controls that exchange controls the relationship. That's why power is not about having allies. It's about making others believe they need you more than you need them. The first rule of influence: never appear self-sufficient. Paradoxical? Yes, but essential. The moment others think you need nothing, they feel irrelevant. Power thrives on subtle dependence. You must give people a role to play in your story, something they believe only they can offer. Let them feel essential and they'll serve your cause without question. Kings have long mastered this art. They make nobles feel powerful while quietly holding every thread of control. They let others wear crowns of gold while they wear crowns of silence. They allow the illusion of equality, but never the reality. To maintain loyalty, feed ego. People don't follow authority, they follow admiration. Make others feel valuable, seen, and necessary, but never fully satisfied. A satisfied ally becomes independent. A slightly insecure one stays loyal forever. Powerful individuals play three roles at once. They act as mentors to some, allies to others, and mysteries to all. To their subordinates, they appear generous. To their rivals, they appear unpredictable. To their equals, they appear slightly superior, but never arrogant. Balance perception carefully, and every person you meet becomes a piece in your design. But beware, loyalty built on fear burns fast. Fear creates obedience, not devotion. The moment your strength wavers, the fearful will turn on you. Control rooted in respect lasts longer than control rooted in terror. The art lies in mixing both, to be loved enough to be followed and feared enough not to be betrayed. The second rule: never let anyone fully understand your network. Keep connections isolated. Compartmentalize information. The left hand should never know what the right hand is doing. The more people know your structure, the easier it is to dismantle. The powerful move through layers of secrecy, every ally believing they're the closest while none see the full picture. The Medici family ruled Florence this way for centuries. Their influence wasn't in armies or politics, it was in loyalty. Bankers, artists, generals, all served them unknowingly as parts of one organism. Every favor granted created a debt. Every debt became a chain. Power is not about domination, it's about alignment.
Take note. Reputation is an invisible army.
When your vision becomes the air others breathe, they stop resisting it. They serve your goals while believing they're pursuing their own. The master strategist never demands obedience, he designs it. Control at its highest level feels like freedom. The best manipulation doesn't force, it invites. You don't command people to act, you make them want to act. And that's why social power is the most dangerous kind. You can't see it, you can't fight it. It lives in words, gestures, and debts, invisible threads binding people to your will. In every circle, identify the gatekeepers, the ones who influence others quietly. Befriend them, empower them, make them your messengers. Through them, you control entire groups without ever stepping into the light. The final rule: never be anyone's ally forever. Loyalty must always serve strategy. Every alliance has an expiration date. When a relationship no longer strengthens your position, dissolve it gracefully, never emotionally. Keep the door open but never look back. Because true power doesn't cling, it circulates. It flows through people, uses them as vessels, and moves on once its purpose is fulfilled. And in the end, when all the pieces have played their part, the powerful stand alone again, not lonely but complete, surrounded by loyalty, yet untouched by attachment, connected to everyone, yet owned by no one. That is the architecture of influence, to build empires not from stone but from people, and to rule them without ever being ruled by them. At the end of every game of power, one truth remains: control is temporary but mastery endures. Anyone can manipulate, anyone can deceive, influence, or dominate for a moment. But to become truly untouchable, to rise beyond the reach of envy, betrayal, and downfall, you must learn to transcend the game itself. Every powerful figure in history eventually faced the same choice: remain a player or become the board. The player moves pieces. The board defines the world they move within. To become untouchable is to stop reacting, to stop competing, and instead, to design the entire system others are trapped inside. Power built on fear or flattery collapses when the winds shift. Power built on mastery, on silence, control, and foresight becomes eternal. Because the untouchable one no longer plays by visible rules. They shape the rules themselves.
And remember, silence humiliates louder than words.
This transformation begins with emotional detachment. You cannot control a world that still controls your emotions. The powerful are not cold, they are composed. Every insult, every betrayal, every setback is a test of composure. React and you lose control. Observe and you gain information. The moment others realize they can't provoke you, they stop trying. The most dangerous person is the one who cannot be manipulated through emotion, who neither craves praise nor fears rejection. The second step is strategic invisibility. Those who constantly chase attention become predictable. Those who withdraw strategically become mysterious. Mystery is gravity. It pulls others toward you, compels them to fill silence with speculation. By saying less, you say more. The less accessible you are, the more your presence demands respect. A scarce figure becomes a symbol, and symbols outlive empires. Throughout history, the untouchable are not the loudest, they are the most deliberate. Marcus Aurelius ruled with restraint. Bismarck moved with precision. Machiavelli himself warned against excess exposure.
Never forget, scarcity creates desire.
When people cannot read your emotions, predict your actions, or measure your limits, they are forced to tread carefully. Uncertainty becomes your armor. The third principle: master perception before pursuing truth. Reality rarely matters, perception always does. Even the most brilliant act is powerless if unseen or misunderstood. Reputation is the currency of influence, and the untouchable never spend it carelessly. They curate every word, every appearance, every silence. The image you project must be stronger than the truth others believe. Because once perception hardens into legend, truth no longer matters. But beware, reputation must never outpace reality. Appear strong but not boastful. Intelligent but not unreachable. People trust what feels human but fear what feels superior. Blend both. Be relatable enough to disarm, yet extraordinary enough to command awe. The untouchable live in the balance between myth and man. Next, control information like a weapon. Knowledge decides who commands and who obeys. The untouchable gather information relentlessly, from allies, enemies, and shadows alike, while revealing nothing in return. Speak selectively. Listen constantly. Every secret you know multiplies your leverage. Every secret you reveal weakens your fortress. The wise king never asks questions directly. He creates situations where others answer without realizing they've spoken. But intelligence alone is not enough. To remain untouchable, you must also master the art of ending. Every unfinished task, every unresolved conflict, every lingering debt is a doorway to downfall.
Mark this. Emotion is a tool, not a truth.
The powerful close doors completely, not with rage but with precision. They conclude conversations, alliances, and rivalries with finality. Loose ends are roots of rebellion. Closure, delivered coldly and completely, turns chaos into control. The world respects decisiveness and fears it. Yet perhaps the most overlooked pillar of untouchability is self-reliance. The moment your identity depends on another's approval, your foundation cracks. Dependence is the leash of the weak. Build internal resources, emotional, intellectual, financial, until no betrayal, no loss, no rejection can destabilize you. To own yourself fully is the rarest form of power. It is the one thing that cannot be taken, only surrendered. When Napoleon fell, when Caesar was betrayed, when empires burned, what survived were ideas, not armies. And that's the final secret of the untouchable. They think in centuries, not days. The weak chase victory, the strong create legacies. Every decision, every act of restraint, every moment of silence builds toward immortality. A powerful person seeks advantage. An untouchable person becomes the advantage itself. To reach that level, you must operate by 3 final rules. Rule 1. Own your narrative. Do not let others define your story. Interpret your losses before others can weaponize them. Control the story and you control the lesson.
Always recall. Patience wins more than force.
Every defeat can be rewritten as evolution, every betrayal as revelation. The untouchable are not those who never fall. They are those who decide what the fall means. Rule 2. Evolve beyond emotion. Most leaders crumble because they confuse power with validation. True mastery requires indifference to both praise and criticism. Approval is a chain disguised as comfort. Cut it and you rise beyond reach. Rule 3. Vanish at your peak. The final act of dominance is withdrawal. Leave when your name is still echoing. Legends fade the moment they overstay their glory. True power knows when to disappear, when mystery becomes immortality. The great conquerors, thinkers, and kings who vanish at their height are never replaced. Their silence becomes sacred. The untouchable understand this. The world remembers not the loudest, but the most deliberate. Not the one who fought hardest, but the one who moved unseen. Not the one who controlled others, but the one who mastered themselves. Power at its highest form is not conquest, it's detachment. It is the ability to walk away without losing anything, to influence without demanding, to exist without needing. And when you reach that level, no slander can break you, no betrayal can wound you, no storm can move you, because the untouchable are not part of the world. They are the architects of it.
Never forget, time is the sharpest sword.
So as you step back from this journey, from the 15 darkest laws of power, from the strategies of Machiavelli, Napoleon, and Caesar, remember this: your greatest weapon is not manipulation, it's awareness. Your greatest defense is not aggression, it's restraint. And your greatest power is not dominance. It's control over yourself, your emotions, and your perception. When you master those, you become more than powerful. You become inevitable. And in the game of power, inevitability is immortality.